David Martinez stared at his discharge papers with the kind of satisfaction only a soldier completing his final tour could understand. 5 years in the Galactic Defense Force, 3 alien worlds liberated, and countless battles against the Vorthak Empire. He was done. Earth called to him with promises of quiet mornings, coffee that didn't taste like recycled starship fuel, and maybe finally asking Emma Chen from his old neighborhood on that date he'd been postponing since basic training. "Another human leaving us," chittered Commander Zektar, his insectoid features expressing what David had learned to recognize as disappointment. "Your species never stays long enough to truly understand the galaxy." David shouldered his duffel bag, ignoring the familiar weight of his plasma rifle. Soon to be someone else's problem. 5 years is plenty, Commander. Time to let someone else save the galaxy. The transport to Earth couldn't come fast enough. David had earned his rest, earned his peace. What he hadn't earned, apparently, was the right to choose his own future. The explosion came without warning. Emergency klaxons screamed through the station as the lights flickered from standard white to the ominous red of battle stations. David's instincts kicked in before his mind could protest. He was moving toward the armory while other beings fled in panic. "All available personnel to defensive positions." The announcement echoed in a dozen languages. "Vorthak assault fleet approaching." David's hands found his rifle before his brain could remind them. He was technically a civilian now. Through the observation deck's reinforced windows, he watched sleek Vorthak destroyers emerge from hyperspace like metal predators scenting blood. "The princess!" someone screamed. "They're after Princess Lyralai." David had heard of Princess Lyralai of the Ethereal Dominion, daughter of one of humanity's most crucial allies, heir to a throne that commanded respect across 3 sectors. Her people, the Valthera, resembled humans enough to be beautiful by Earth standards, but possessed psychic abilities that made them invaluable strategists and diplomats. The station shuddered under enemy fire. David found himself running toward the royal quarters, his discharge papers forgotten in his back pocket. Whatever was happening, innocent people were about to die, and his conscience wouldn't let him board that transport while others fought. He burst through the door to find chaos. Royal guards lay unconscious, victims of some kind of psychic attack. In the center of the room stood Princess Lyralai herself, tall, elegant with the characteristic silver hair of her people and eyes that shifted between blue and violet depending on the light. She was also pointing a rather impressive energy weapon at 3 Vorthak infiltrators. "Took you long enough, human," she said without taking her eyes off her enemies. "I was beginning to think your species had lost its legendary stubbornness." David didn't question how she knew he was coming. Psychic abilities had their advantages. Instead, he raised his rifle and flanked the Vorthak soldiers. "Just couldn't resist one last fight, Your Highness." What followed was the kind of brutal, close-quarters combat that had made humans famous throughout the galaxy. David moved with the fluid precision of a veteran, while Lyralai demonstrated why the Valthera were feared as much as they were respected. Her psychic abilities allowed her to anticipate every move, while her training with conventional weapons proved she was more than just a diplomatic figurehead. When the smoke cleared, 3 Vorthak soldiers lay unconscious. David had learned that live prisoners provided better intelligence than dead ones, and the princess was looking at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "Impressive," she said, holstering her weapon. Most humans would have panicked when they realized they were facing a psychic dampening field. David blinked. That explained why his tactical implant hadn't been feeding him target data. "You were fighting without your abilities?" The Vorthak came prepared. Her smile held more than simple gratitude. "But you didn't hesitate, even knowing you were outgunned, outnumbered, and technically off-duty." The station's defenses finally drove off the Vorthak fleet, but David barely noticed. He was too busy trying to understand the calculating look in the princess's eyes. "I have a proposition for you, David Martinez," she said, somehow knowing his name despite never having met him. "My people have a custom. When a warrior proves themselves worthy in defense of the royal line, they may be conscripted into permanent service. I'm flattered, but I'm heading home to Earth. I've got plans." "The service I'm referring to," Lyralai interrupted. "Stepping closer involves becoming my consort, my equal, co-ruler of the Ethereal Dominion." David's brain seemed to short-circuit. "I'm sorry, what?" "Marriage, David. I'm drafting you into marriage." Her psychic abilities must have been reading his emotional state because she laughed at whatever she found there. Don't look so terrified. Among my people, marriage is a partnership of equals. You would retain your human citizenship, your military rank, and gain considerable political power. But we just met. I've been watching you for 3 years, she admitted. Your tactical reports, your service record, the way you've handled first contact situations with new species. You're exactly what my people need. Someone who can bridge the gap between human pragmatism and Velthara idealism. David thought of Emma, of quiet mornings and normal life. Then he thought of the bigger picture, of the galaxy that still needed defending, of the alliances that kept peace between dozens of species. The Vorthak will keep coming, Lirelai continued. My marriage to a human war hero would cement the human-Velthara alliance in ways that would make their expansion impossible. You could save more lives as my husband than you ever could as a soldier. It was emotional manipulation of the highest order. It was also completely logical. What about love? David asked. Lirelai's expression softened. I'm psychic, remember? I can feel your emotions, your conflicts, your deep sense of duty. Love isn't just possible between us. I believe it's inevitable. David looked at his discharge papers one last time, then let them fall to the floor. Well, he said, this definitely wasn't in the recruitment brochure. Princess Lirelai's laughter followed them out of the room, toward a future that would be anything but quiet, and everything the galaxy needed.